Well, thank you for taking the time to stop by and smell the schlock. I am Darby Ellis Lewis Wilson, and with me, as always, is Chris Anonymous. We are your hosts for tonight's amazing Easter special. Tonight, we are reviewing the barely Easter movie, Hank and Mike. How's it going, Chris? How are you doing? I didn't ask you that. I'm sorry. That's very rude of me.
I'm good. I have a strange craving for carrots. I'm not sure why.
Ooh, I have a strange craving for Cadbury eggs.
Are you a Cadbury egg fan?
Not the little ones that look like duck turds. The ones that like have the cream in them. Not the caramel.
Like the sugary
the cream.
Yolk, the fake yolk.
Yeah, and that you can't ever get the tinfoil wrapping off without having some of it fill. If you find one with like without a bunch of goop on it, and you can actually like pull the wrapper off and like make the wrapper nice, like if I can do that, I feel very accomplished. Like I really feel like I did something.
I like the idea of them, but then when I eat one, it's just so saccharine. It's just too sweet. Like it just
delicious.
And then I forget. It takes a whole year, and I forget, and I'm like, ooh, a Cadbury egg. And then I take a bite into one, and I'm like, get the hell out of here.
I'm going to wait until the day after Easter, and I'm going to just buy them up and eat them for every meal.
Like a little Easter dragon.
Hoard them. Yeah, exactly. So the movie we're talking about tonight is Hank and Mike. It is a movie that is supposed to be in the vein of movies like Bad Santa and other holiday movies where it's like a wholesome holiday where they like make it naughty. Anyway, it came out in 2008. It looks like it's a pretty Canadian endeavor. It cost about $2 million to make. It made only about $17,000 according to IMDb. I believe that's a huge flop. I said 17,000.
Yeah,
that's.
I've seen the movie,
and I'm rounding up.
Okay.
But while I do think that's a huge flop, I'm not necessarily sure that's indicative of its success. And maybe it is. It seems like it mostly went on like
following.
Yeah, and I can absolutely see this movie having a cult following. But it seems like it
made plenty of money through the years as a cult following. Yeah.
Right. Well, it seems like it mostly played on festival circuits. So I believe the numbers that IMDb gives are like box office gross, right? So it wasn't like really released officially in like theaters or very many theaters. So I think that's probably why it has such a small amount of money made. It was based on a TV show, characters in a TV show called YB Normal, and that came out in 1998. Wow, quite a while ago. And then they made a short film with those characters in 2000, and then 8 years later, in 2008, they created the full-length movie. That's really all I have to say about it. The movie has a weird tone for me that we'll get into. What do we have for the web of schlock?
Not a whole lot. The people who made it, the director and the two writers who actually were the two stars that played Hank and Meg, they wrote the screenplay. They all seem like friends who went back a long ways, all the way back to that TV show. And they've worked on other movies, feature lengths, short films, TV shows. So it seems like they have a group, kind of a little clique, and they make films together. A sad note, the director passed away in 2016. He was murdered in Belize. So wow. Yeah.
It wasn't by John McAfee, was it? That's a deep cut. Too soon. I take it back. Cut it from the podcast.
It's interesting. Also, some of the cast, like seeing Chris Klein and a couple other ones that you'll see in other films. I don't know if they knew him back in the day, or I mean, it feels like you would do this at no charge, right? If you're a star, like you like the script or you like the people you're working with. It's, you know, it's when Kevin Smith calls in favors to Ben Affleck or Matt Damon, right? Like,
right, yeah. Which I'm sure they still get their paycheck. But
so yeah, that's about it for Web of Schlock. They've done some other TV and other movies, small bit parts here and there, but some writing, some directing, some acting. So they kind of do everything.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad to hear about the director. I come off as very callous, but that does suck. It's awesome that they are a group of friends that can get together and create something. We talk about that all the time, and just like how special and fun that would be to do. So kudos there for doing something for sure.
Yep, for sure.
So before we move on, I'll explain to you, because I skipped right over it, the format of the show. What we usually do, we start off with a little bit of an intro, give you some tidbits, and then we give you some tidbits about the web of Schlock, how things are connected. And then we go into talking about what's good and bad of the movie. In the movie, we've kind of started rapid firing it, and I think it's working well. So we can get into the Schlock. And what is Schlock? Man, it runs the gamut. It goes all over the place. It's what's weird about the movie, what doesn't work about the movie, what does work about the movie, but we don't really like it. What's the philosophy in the movie? How well was it written? I don't know. It just goes all over the place. And I got to warn you, we will spoil this movie, and we will spoil movies that we've never even seen. We will
reference movies that you would never think we're going to reference, and then we'll spoil them.
Yeah. Spare the schlock, spoil the child is what I always say. So, and also, no matter where you're watching, if you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, we are live on Facebook now, but we will be on YouTube tomorrow. So in the future, you're watching in the past. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so that we know what you like, know what we need to carry on in the future. So anyway, let's get on to the good, the bad, and the schlock. Chris, do you want to hit me with your good and your bad?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Well, let me just start off with saying that it felt that these people made the movie they wanted to make. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Whether I liked it or not is of little importance when it feels like they got to make exactly what they wanted to make. So that's a good thing. I like the use of music in it. Not all of it, but the majority. I like the use of music. I liked Chris Klein's singing. I liked the whole breaking and entering to hide eggs and that skill set. I thought that was really fun. Like they're doing a good thing, but they have this total criminal skill set, right? And it's very like handheld camera and like night vision and them breaking in and hiding eggs. And so that was fun. Okay, that's it for good. Bad. There was just so much bad, and most of it's going to go into schlock. I didn't like this movie, so it's hard for me to separate the bad from the schlock. So it was cringy. It had dated humor, had an awkward tone. It felt like a bad SNL skit, wannabe Bad Santa. The world doesn't track. Like it's kind of like Cadbury eggs. I like the idea of them. And then when I bite into it, I'm like, nope. I liked the idea of
too
this
much
movie.
Sugar.
And it didn't work. And we'll get into that. I had so many questions of the world. I think a lot of this comes down to strange choices and awkward world building. I think there is a solid movie concept in here. And again, that's my opinion. They obviously made the film they want to make, and they're talented filmmakers. They know how to make a film. So yeah, again, for good, for better or worse, they made the movie they wanted to make.
Yeah. Well, so jumping off of that, in my good, you said that they're talented filmmakers. For sure, I do think that there really was like a directorial vision in this movie, the use of the grainy film look in it to give it that kind of this is a gritty sort of film. It kind of reminded me of what is it, Train Spotting, where they he dives into the toilet after the drugs.
I love Train Spotting, but that aesthetic.
So yeah, I think that there definitely was a vision for this and that they filled out. I do think that there were parts that were genuinely funny. There were, and like you said, there's some great concepts in there, hiding the Easter eggs the breaking and entering to hide the Easter eggs. There are definitely some interesting things in here. For the bad, so I feel like there was. I wrote it down that there's too much stuff with not enough substance.
100%.
And what I mean is that there's just like a lot of threads going through, and
that don't need to be there.
That I went back and kind of recapped some things like Mike's his need for love. Right. We get that with our very first shot from him. But it doesn't really track as an arc for him. And so there's just like a lot of things like that. The monologue over the end of the film didn't really track with the rest of the film. And I feel like that we just had a lot of that kind of thing throughout, just things that they seem good in the moment, but they just don't have any sort of through line. I feel like it relies too much on the gimmick. The gimmick, right, being that these are grown men wearing these pink Easter bunny outfits, and they put them into these situations where they're having sex and doing drugs and cussing, and they smoke and they I feel like it could have been better potentially, like you said with the Cadbury eggs. Like the idea is there, but right. I think they just leaned too heavy on it and hope that would coast them through.
Yeah, totally.
I had trouble with the nudity in it. I thought it was gratuitous nudity. We've watched plenty of films on here before that have that in it. And you and I have had long discussions about my feelings about nudity in film, and that might actually be a good discussion for a different podcast or a different show at some point in time. But I feel like this one crossed the line for me. But it's 2008. Like you said, it's just like kind of dated for me, and that's how I felt about it. And overall, I just had trouble settling into the tone of the movie
because it didn't settle into a tone, and that's one of the biggest problems. Anything else before we kind of get in just to the schlock and hash things out?
Yeah, that's it. Let's get into the schlock. I liked where you talked about the world, like what world does this exist in? And I kept trying to figure that out. Right.
It's bizarre. It takes place in like a Bad Santa kind of world. It takes place in some kind of like Tim Burton-y kind of world. It takes place in like this fairy tale world, and it doesn't know what kind of world it takes place in. So Bad Santa, I thoroughly enjoy Bad Santa. I really like that movie. It had gratuitous nudity. It had someone in a Santa suit doing drugs and having sex and being a jerk, right? It had all, but it also had substance, and it had a character you could care about, and you could see him grow as a person. So it didn't just rely on those things, right? Those were just kind of like little bits here and there of shock value. And that's the kind of humor they were going for. So I thought as a model, taking Bad Santa would be a good choice here. The problem is that Bad Santa is it's so shocking to have a Santa character, or it was when it came out, to do those things, that everything else for the most part was grounded in a reality. Right. So you had something.
Well, in Bad Santa, he isn't Santa.
Right. That's the problem. We have two Easter bunnies who are Easter bunnies. So, but the world knows about them.
Well, so I was trying to think of it in a way of like, kind of like Elf. maybe, right? Like an elf, like Santa Claus and elves do exist.
Right.
They're at the North Pole. People don't really know about them, but like in the world of elf, there are these elves and Santa Claus that make and deliver presents on Christmas. However, in the world at large, people don't believe in Santa, and they must
keep it
do
under wraps.
And they deliver presents themselves, presumably.
Right, but here in this shot that we just had up, we had them walking downtown. We have whole news programs about how they forgot to deliver eggs to one child, and then a follow-up piece. And they have a corporation that has corporatized Easter. So in this world, everyone knows that Easter bunnies exist, and yet it's still some strange mystery that why would they have to break in? You would just leave your doors on. You would sign up for this feature, and you would leave your doors unlocked, and you would let them go in and hide eggs. And your kids know about it. So they wouldn't be like, "Where are my eggs, Daddy?" They'd be like, "You need to call Easter Inc. and find out what happened because the eggs didn't get delivered."
But here's the thing. I don't think that they are people like hired to be Easter bunnies, like that they're playing the part of Easter bunnies. Like I think that that's bunnies. Like biologically they're Easter bunnies. Like they exist. Like their reason for existence is that they are Easter bunnies. And so it seems like whether they're corporatized or not, like Easter bunnies have been around since the inception of the holiday, right? And so like I have a question, a picture to bring up. Who is making the eggs? Because Mike's love interest, she tells him this very touching story about how her grandma would paint these it's not a Fabergé egg, but I forget the name, but these very elaborate eggs. And so I was sitting there thinking, like, doesn't this kind of undermine like the world that they're in? That if there are Easter bunnies, Easter rabbits that are going around creating eggs, delivering them, why would people create eggs on their own and have their own Easter tradition in that way?
Yeah, so nothing's explained.
Yeah. And maybe that's good. Maybe that strikes other people just right. Like they like it kind of mysterious, and they want you to just sort of fall into that world and accept it.
You know, if you're treating it as some kind of allegory or something, fine. But it felt like these were real Easter bunnies that were humanoid and that went around, and their sole purpose was hiding eggs. And they usually ate carrots or organic carrots, but then they smoked and drank and could date humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and as far as allegory goes, like I was looking for like, okay, is there, what type of symbolism are they using? Like we have Team Jesus, that little interaction that has no bearing on the story, where they pull up with the A-Team van that has like the weird Jesus people trying to give out soup. Like I really thought like, okay, Easter,
they're going to kidnap him.
I thought, I don't know. I don't know what they were going to do. I thought maybe,
I mean, they had, like you pointed out, it's a dagger. They're luring him in. He represents something that they are against, because you have that whole stealing Easter, right? I thought this was going to be some weird like Act 3 twist where he gets kidnapped and you have to go get him, but it's just a one-off.
Yeah, it's just another one of those threads that like it just kind of comes in. It seems good for the moment, but then it goes away and you never see it again.
And again, I think this is the problem, is you don't want things like this. You don't want the Chris Klein character and the sponsored suicide, because those are concepts in and of themselves, right? That if you're going to do them,
right, that's a whole movie
treatment. Those are all whole movies. And they're just these tacked on bits that make this strange world even stranger. And what you really need to do is make this strange world less strange, so we can focus on these characters and find humor in them. And they do it once in a while, like hiding the UPS package. This was the only time in the film where I had a good laugh out loud kind of chuckle.
I thought that was brilliant. I wanted more of it. Brilliant.
Yeah. And I wanted more of it, because he's an Easter bunny and he's supposed to deliver a package, but he can't just deliver it. He's got to go hide it because it's in his nature, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect character humor. Like, I'm like, oh, it was too little too late, but I loved this moment.
Right.
And it just, made all the other moments kind of like look worse. Let's go to the Chris Klein character.
Yeah.
So just a bizarro character. Firing two Easter bunnies does not solve anything. That
right, like they're causing them
budget,
costing them millions of dollars or something.
Yeah, you fired two Easter bunnies.
So I have a lot of questions here. One, I want to bring up something about the character himself this is why it's totally weird for me. He kept timing himself, I assume, for like an elevator pitch, because he's always pitching something. I don't know. I thought that was a cool quirk to give the character, but it doesn't like actually do anything for him. And my second part is this scene, right?
So weird.
Mike is going off the deep end. Hank is also going off the deep end elsewhere, but Mike he's apparently an alcoholic or ex-alcoholic and is going back to the bar. Chris Klein character is there. Now, shouldn't they, I don't think that we've ever seen them together in the movie prior to this, but I think that they should probably have some knowledge of each other, right? Chris Klein at the very least can look at Mike and say, oh, out of work Easter Bunny.
That's me.
Yeah, I did that. And why is he there? The last time that we see him, he's in the bathroom with Mr. Pan and like threatening him, but now he's here and he's like kind of a sad sack, and we kind of get some development that maybe he's only interested in the bottom line because he got his heart broken. But it's just such a weird scene. I do love the song in it, but
I liked his performance. I liked the song. I thought that was one of the funnest moments, but it makes no sense. It felt like, well, we have Chris Klein. We better give him a scene.
Yeah, we just need him.
Yep.
And so there's this weird through line of like him doing some sort of corporate takeover, and so it's him and I forget the actor's name. He's in a ton of stuff. I call him Mean Ray Romano, but Mr. Pan, which I thought was an interesting name. I was trying to figure out, does that mean anything?
Well, and like Chris Klein's name in it is Hubris, which I'm like, okay.
Oh, it is Hubris. Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end, when he like pushes him out of the conference room, and it's like
power throws him and hulks him out. Yeah,
I'm like, so is he supernatural? Is he Jesus? Like what's his deal? Did he push this gigantic conference table out of this building, and then now he has the revelation at the end, right? He delivers kind of the moral of the story at the end, and it was just so weird and disconnected for me. I just didn't know where to land on it.
Yeah, Again, I don't know if they tacked it on or if they thought it was deeper than it actually is, but it just doesn't work at all. So let me see where we got. So here's a problem I have. So you talked about the stuff you didn't like with the kind of dark humor and hard R and all that. I don't like Hank and Mike. I don't think they would be friends. There's nothing in this movie that shows me why they would hang out. Like, I get the odd couple. Right. I get that opposite.
It's supposed to be an odd couple. Yeah.
It's supposed to be. But in most odd couple films, you show a scene or two where you can see, okay, they're totally opposite and they shouldn't hang out, but I can see why they do it.
I need a roommate.
Here. Yeah. Never get that.
I need this person because of their money.
Where's the flashback of them having fun or growing up together? Or there's nothing that ties these two characters together. I don't think they would fire Mike because of his track record. Especially when Hank admitted it. Hank had that horrible file. They would have taken him off and had him do some like in-house work and not deliver eggs years ago.
So my very smart girlfriend did point out to me during the movie that it is interesting when they're sitting in the unemployment office and Mike is worried about being split up, and then they say like we can't be split up, we work better as a pair. That people say that the rabbits are better as pairs, like if you get them as pets or whatever, they do better if they're not alone. So maybe they are just like instinctually bound to one another.
That's fine, but they didn't make this for rabbits to watch. I assume they made it for humans. Yeah. So you have to have
for rabbit enthusiasts,
right? I also didn't. So not only do I not buy them as friends, do I not buy them as staying together, roommates, any of that. I don't. So they don't have morals. Okay. They're both creepers. They're both like just kind of cringy. Like he's the typical creeper.
Yeah. They really took it away from Mike.
Mike is the nice guy creeper. That whole scene where it's like, and I've been watching you. Yeah. Total stalker.
Yeah.
Like neither of them are good bunnies, right?
Right.
Fine. That's the concept you're going with. Fine. Let's run with that. These bunnies don't have any real morals, or if they do, they're very gray. They have breaking and entering skill set, right? And yet they go get jobs and they get fired from jobs and they starve and they become homeless and they have to budget. No.
Right. In fact, we have an entire opening scene showing that they actually do have these skills that they could go be locksmiths.
The second they were fired, they should have started breaking into houses, robbing banks, stealing stuff because they have the skill set and they lack the morality. Right. Well, and that would have been a very interesting movie.
And that's a great thing to bring up because their problem in the movie is that they're fired, they're Easter bunnies and they can't Easter bunny. The way they solve the problem in the end when they go to the big conference room and they put on the suits is that they breaking into people's houses, they just know all of their secrets and they tell the board all of their secrets. And so again, like they did their due diligence in establishing that. However, like it
negates Act 2.
Yeah, well, and the way they come together, right? Hank, like he sort of rebuilds the golden egg for Mike, and they sit on the couch and they're watching some news, and even in the news that they're watching, like it seems like that's supposed to give Hank the light bulb moment where he's like, "Oh, I know how we can get our jobs back by essentially blackmailing these people." But like, even if the news report that they were watching was about blackmail, like. And he's like, "Oh, I get it," but it like just that thought just came out of nowhere,
right? And he wouldn't have to make a golden egg; he could have stole that egg back.
Exactly. Yeah.
You establish this crazy cool like bunny rabbits who can break and enter, and they get fired and have nothing to live for. That's a cool movie. That's okay. So I got a question for you. Let's pull up the picture stuff. I don't know if you noticed this, but the sponsored suicide thing that everyone was sponsoring was this thing that says stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what if this is like a sequel to the stuff, and the world has ate so much of it that they don't know what to believe, that the aliens and the creatures are like, yeah, Easter bunnies are real, and so they're living in like this like nonsensical matrix. It's not like this is the reality, but they've consumed so much stuff that they have no concept of what reality is.
And so the stuff is about like blind consumerism in a way,
right?
And so everything is about the bottom line in this movie.
So
connected. You tell us.
Yeah. I just, and you see this, the word stuff everywhere, and it's a similar font and it's similar pink. And I'm like, is it an homage? What's going on here? So I just wanted to bring that up. I could just talk.
They're just all hopped up on stuff. So
they're all hopped up on stuff. And maybe this movie would be funny if we were hopped up on stuff while we watched it.
Well, I think that was maybe the intention, or perhaps the crowd it was made for. We are running out of time, but I will say, while I was watching this movie, I was trying to think of it was made like kind of in a different time where there were more comedies around, and there were a lot of, I don't know if experimentation is the right word, but there's just a lot more going on in the world of comedy than there is today. And so I don't know, maybe there's something there, maybe there's not, but it sounds like that's all the time that we have for this week. Chris, I get to pick the movie this week, and it is going to be a cult classic called Dark Star. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Dark Star. It is available for free on Tubi. A friend from work said, if if you're doing the show, you got to watch Dark Star. So
You're not wrong.
check it out next week. I'm Darby Ellis Willis Wilson. This is Chris Anonymous. We've been compelled by Schlock. I love the rabbit ears. We'll see you next week. Happy Easter, everybody.
I am